Good morning from Vietnam, everybody. I am your host. My name is Joshua from Vietnam. I am here with my co-host, Sash. Go ahead and fill your cup with whatever bitter brew you're drinking because today we're going to be talking about 2021 and everything that just went on in the past week. How are you doing today, Sash? I see that you're muted. Let me fix your video a little bit here and go ahead and unmute yourself when you can. So last Monday we were coming to you just a few days before Christmas Eve. Nope, still got nothing on your end, Sash. I'm still empty on that. We got Dan in the chat. Good morning, Dan. How was your Christmas? I hope it was fantastic. Sash, you got to fix your mic issue and come back with me. And while you do that, I am going to talk about what happened over the last week. So on Christmas Day, as I'm sure you guys all know by now, there was a bombing in Nashville. Pretty interesting one. A bombing in Nashville, and the suspect's name is Anthony Quinn Warner. That's right. A Q Warner is his name. 63 years old, and supposedly he built a fence around his RV, chocked it full of explosives, and then set it all off. I wanted to talk about some of the bills with you, Sash, but you're just not there yet, so I am going to keep rolling with some of this stuff. I can't hear anything you're saying, buddy. So the first video that I want to play is actually the city mayor, John Cooper. So this is the mayor of Nashville. And let's go down here to the share. Oh, I've got the volume muted. Give me 1 second.
Is the only explosion that's going to happen in Nashville today. The dramatic thing, if you were closer, is the broken water mains do lend a certain drama to the scene, for sure. So all that, it's a hard thing, but that's why I'm feeling calm. Well, we are a famous place.
Pretty smiley, if you ask me, for a man whose city was bombed on Christmas morning. That laugh in the beginning just gets me right to the core. I don't believe a word he says after that.
Explosion that's going to happen in Nashville today.
It's Christmas afternoon after an explosion in your city live on Christmas morning, and you make a joke saying this is the only explosion that's going to happen in Nashville today. An explosion by a Q Warner. Oh my goodness, the Q-tards on Twitter are going crazy because of it. All right, sorry about that. Sash is texting me saying he can't hear, but I mean we can't hear him, so it doesn't really matter. Fix your mic, Sash, and then rejoin us. So I'll keep going down my list of what I wanted to talk about. I want to get into a few different things here. Bitcoin is going absolutely crazy, hitting record new highs. Gold and silver are starting to build back up. But what's interesting is we saw gold and silver take these pretty massive drops. We saw gold and silver take these massive drops. I don't have my chart ready. I was expecting to have an interview with Sash going on right now. So give me 1 second. Let me pull up my gold and silver pricing, and then we will jump right into it. So we saw this massive crash at the beginning of March and April, both in gold and silver, for a reason not quite understood. So when all the coronavirus was going on, like when it first started, just everything totally collapsed. And then it started to build back up quite a bit. And it's pretty interesting. Sorry, I'm trying to do two things at once to see if I can I can help Sash at all with his technical difficulties because I can see him. He's on the Zoom call, but he's just not able to join us at the moment.
You hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
All right. You are with me now. There we go. I think we've got everything taken care of. So sorry about that. Actually, it wasn't even your fault. I'm pretty ashamed to admit it was mine. And I just realized that as I was switching over. So I apologize. I was blaming you for that, but that was totally my fault. You're with us now. How are you doing today, Sash?
Yes. I'm all right. I'm all right. Well, what about you?
I'm doing okay. I'm a little embarrassed that I couldn't hear you for 5 minutes and it was entirely my fault, but I'm going to have to deal with that.
That don't worry.
So you've heard about the Nashville
GMfVN and gold.
Yeah, we were about to jump into
the
gold,
Nashville
but
bombing.
let's go back to the Nashville bombing. Were you able to hear my screen share of Mayor John Cooper?
No,
All right,
I wasn't.
So let's do this one more time and tell me if you can hear it now, because this is hearing it is a big part. We're gonna go back to the share here. You can see it, right?
The
yeah.
dramatic thing, if you were closer, is the broken water mains do lend a certain panorama to the scene, for sure.
My connection is pretty slow.
It's a hard thing, but that's why I'm feeling calm. Well, we are a famous place. It's the only explosion that's going to happen in Nashville today. The dramatic thing, if you were closer, is the broken water mains do lend.
Were you able to hear that?
To the scene, for sure.
No, my connection is not stable.
Your connection's not stable. All right. So basically, he tells this joke. So I'll try to reenact it. He says, well, it's the only explosion that'll happen here in Nashville today. And then later when they ask why it might be targeted, he's got this big old grin on his face. And it's like, well, it's a famous place. And just looking at his body language, even without listening to it, this man, we're supposedly this interview is happening live in the afternoon on Christmas. Right after, on Christmas morning, someone set off a bomb downtown in this man's city. Like, this man I would expect, I don't know much about John Cooper, but if he's a politician, he's a mayor in a city like Nashville, I would assume he has some wife. A wife and some kids, excuse me. And he's laughing that on Christmas morning is absolutely bizarre for me. I can't get over that. Like there's something up with this.
Well, what if they're going to blame the QAnon people for this?
Well, I guess if you couldn't hear me, you didn't hear me talk about our perpetrator's name. Do you know the perpetrator's name?
Yes, but I don't remember it.
His name is Anthony Quinn Warner, or his initials would be a Q Warner.
Q Warner. Oh shit.
A.Q. Warner.
Oh damn.
And that's how it's being written in all the depositions. A Q Warner, 63 years old, drove into Nashville today in an RV that he had blocked from his neighbor's view, neighbors told local news stations.
Wasn't the AT&T data center there?
The AT&T data center is like beyond ridiculous for all the Q-tards who are thinking that's how data centers work. I've worked in IT most of my life. It does seem that there was a data center there, but I don't think that's... You don't bomb data centers. It doesn't work. I've been in them. I've also been in military installations, and I've also been in like secure parts of the IRS for IT work. And your average data center in Virginia or Texas is 10 times more protected than any military facility I've been in U.S., in Croatia, in Bosnia, in Vietnam. Data centers are built with layers of brick walls to stop explosions. Like they lose their entire business if these things go down. They have vacuums to suck up any chemicals or acid rain that could be piped in. Like they are built like castles. So there probably was an AT&T pop there, is what
Okay.
it seems to me. And a pop is a point of presence. So that's where a bunch of different connections through the network all meet and communicate with each other. And now, of course, you'll have reserves and backups for all that kind of stuff. But the point is your main pop is usually doing like 80% of your traffic, and all your reserves and backups do 20. And so when your main one goes down, when all that traffic immediately tries to reallocate, it causes crashes in systems. And so it does seem that 911
Okay.
services went down. And I've even worked in E911 quite a bit, and I can tell you that in the United States, if if a state's entire telecom infrastructure basically gets nuked, then the PSAPs in other states will begin to receive 911 calls for them automatically. That was one of the things I was working on.
Wait, PSAPs? What?
PSAP is the people who
PSAPs?
answer your 911 calls in the U.S.
Okay. Okay.
It's the inbound call centers for
So it's like
911
if
operators.
okay. So if that crashes, then what happens?
Then another one takes it. Like another state, they'll balance the load, and these people are trained. Everyone at these PSAPs is highly trained. Their equipment is highly redundant. It's probably one of the most efficient and well done things the United States has ever had their hand in. Is our emergency service telecommunication systems. They're just very good. They're very robust. But they're saying in the
I
news
see.
that 911 went down for Alabama, which makes me think that these people couldn't even, I'm sorry, not Alabama, for Tennessee.
Okay.
These people couldn't even get out. There were some Q-tards that were saying that they've got video evidence of a missile striking right as the explosion hit, and I watched the video evidence, and it actually looks like smoke before the main explosion. So I don't know how you would explain that, but the missile would be going
I'm
up.
sorry, guys. My connection is not very good.
All right, so let me stop. Let me stop sharing and see if that makes things a bit better. Uh, working on this. Are you still with me, Sash?
Yeah, but I can't see your screen.
Yeah, I turned my screen sharing off because we're having technical issues to try to get you back.
Let me go and look on YouTube. I'll look on YouTube while you talk, and I'll
Okay,
respond.
I'll send you the links for what we're talking about. That's all right. Just
All right.
stay here and interact. So, you told
Yeah.
me you told me that you thought the defense agreement was signed by Trump.
Yeah. Or was it just a 900 billion?
It was just the 900 billion as far as I can see. So I'm looking at this, I'm sharing it on our screen, but I know you can't see the HR 6395 National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2021. And if you look at the tracker here on congress.gov, it has been vetoed by the president. Now, this was passed like something 84 to 16 or something like that. Like it was so unanimously through that they do have the authority to override the veto, but it takes time. So it's going to go back to the Senate, and then the Senate will have a chance to override the veto.
Okay.
So this will get passed, but Trump
So
didn't
why do you think
cave.
Trump signed it?
The national defense deal, he didn't. He vetoed it.
Okay. No, but the 900 one, the one where we get $600.
Oh, okay. So that's just the COVID relief bill. And actually, for some reason, I couldn't find the number for this bill when I was looking earlier. It's not on the news at all. I didn't have time to hit Twitter. But that's the one that he did sign. And I believe that he signed it because Mitch McConnell just told him no. Like Mitch McConnell's really been showing his true colors here, and he's a pretty evil dude. He's just one of those Democrats with a red tie, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, all right now.
Yeah, definitely a rhino. So Mitch McConnell has proven himself to be John McCain esque and is failing the American people in every way imaginable. And I'm not so worried about how much everybody gets. My very first podcast that we did on this was how Trump lost my vote. Our economy is destroyed. It's irreparable. China can destroy it whenever they want. There's nothing we can do. We can buy some temporary gains by giving people cash, temporary comforts, and these people are going to spend this money no matter what. Like we saw in this
Yeah.
$900 billion bill, what 146 billion goes to um
Foreign aid, right?
no, to Americans. I think foreign aid's the rest of it.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's like you ask the Senate where all the money's going, and they start singing the Animaniacs song where they just list all the countries. 32 million, or no, I believe it's 33 million dollars for gender studies in Pakistan. It's
Yeah, I heard about that.
it's absolutely unbelievable. It's got me. It's showing my point. So obviously, if we're going to put these money in someone's hands, I'd rather put it into American hands because Americans can use this money to prepare themselves for what's coming. War is coming. Food shortages are coming, and you can be fearful of that, or you can try to protect yourself. And $600 is quite a bit of silver. It's interesting as we jump into those prices, which I do want to pull up right now. And I am going to pull them up. It's just me being a little slow, a bunch of dead air. I am doing a bad job as a host today. Nonetheless, I've got it working now, and I'm going to change both of these.
My connection is shit, so don't worry.
Yeah, so just go to goldprice.org there, and you can see the charts that I'm looking at.
Gold. Okay.
Yeah, goldprice.org. You'll be able to pull those up and look at them. And look at that 1 year chart on gold. You can see right around March where there was this massive market manipulation. Like, this is all market manipulation. We're sitting at 1880 for an ounce
Hold
of
on.
gold right now.
Okay.
All right.
Huh.
But if you go to buy physical gold in the U.S., you're going to spend at least $2,000 plus tax for an ounce of gold. Like, I'm now showing up.
Okay.
I'm showing up a screenshot that you can't see of me going to my Gold and Silver Guys website and filling it out like I was going to buy 1 ounce of Australian kangaroo, which was the cheapest gold coin that he had. And it's $2,010 plus.
No, no, I see it.
Okay. Oh, you're pulling up the YouTube so you can see everything about
Yeah.
5 to 10 seconds late.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, cool. So I'll keep going like this then, knowing that you can see it a bit late. And then look at the silver, even though oh, even though silver is trading on paper at $26, we haven't really been able to buy silver for under $30 since March. Because in March there was a run on physical silver and there was just an absence of it available. So Here, I did the math in Vietnam. We can buy gold at like 1950, so a little bit cheaper than the U.S. We can buy pure gold, like stamped by SJC, which is the Saigon Jewelry Company, one of the most famous ones here. And that price has been incredibly stable since March. So when the paper gold went up and down all the way through,
For silver?
no, I'm talking for gold. The market in Vietnam for silver is very, very small. So I'm talking gold. So as if we look at this year to date chart on gold here, oh, I'm sorry, I was adjusting the wrong chart. As we look at that one year to date chart here, we see these dips and these climbs and these rises. In March, gold rose to that about 5.5 million Vietnamese dong per chi, and it's been bouncing around there since. Where that's about 1950 an ounce, and we've seen the paper gold skyrocket and drop and go up and down. And so it seems really clear to me that this is tons
Paper
and
gold, wait,
tons of market
paper
movement.
gold has the shit you t- day trade, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Anytime you're paying a man whose nose may or may not be rather large money so that he can tell you that you've bought gold, you're buying paper gold. If you don't
Okay.
have the gold in your hands, you just have paper gold. And like paper gold's fine to get some money,
Okay.
but when everything hits the fan, do you really want that gold in paper?
No.
Yeah,
No one would.
no one would. I would definitely recommend buying physical gold all the way through, 100% and silver. Now, Bitcoin is at like $27,000 right now. What is your take on the Bitcoin?
I personally think this is just another pump and dump because the same thing happened 3 years ago, during December of 2017.
Oh, interesting. I didn't even know it was the same month. But yeah, I'm thinking the exact same thing. I'm thinking a lot of people are going to pour their life savings to it, going to hodl till 50K, and I think I'm just ready to get out right now. It's scaring me, and maybe I'll put that money into gold. Have you heard the speech from President Trump?
I heard some of it, bits and pieces, but I think that was a good speech on his part.
So I want to go through it with you. So I'm going to send you a link called Watch Together so that we can have it on both our ends, okay?
Okay.
And which one did you watch? The one 3 weeks ago or just a few days ago?
The one he did like before or like right before or right after Christmas, where he talks about we give $100 million to Egypt, who buys the military from Russia or something.
Yeah, I think that's the same one. So
Yeah.
I want to pull this up. I'm gonna send you your link
Cruelly
just
blocked COVID
right
relief
about now.
legislation in an effort to a left-wing agenda and influence the election.
And
Then, a few months
we'll go
ago,
through.
Yeah,
And
I can hear it.
started negotiations on a new
oh,
package
right.
to
You don't
get
need to see it, do
urgently
you?
needed
You
help
can just listen to it.
to the American people. It's taken forever. However, the bill they are now planning to send back to my desk is much different than anticipated. It really is a disgrace. For example, among the more than 5,000 pages in this bill, which nobody in Congress has read because of its length and complexity, it's called the COVID Relief Bill, but it has almost nothing to do with COVID. This bill contains $85.5 million for assistance to Cambodia, $134 million to Burma, $1.3 billion for Egypt and the Egyptian military, which will go out and buy almost exclusively Russian military equipment. $25 million for democracy and gender programs in Pakistan. $505 million to Belize, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Panama. $40 million to the
I
Kennedy Center
I
in
really
Washington,
think
D.C.,
I'm having
which is not even open for business. $1 billion for the Smithsonian.
I really think that Twitter wrote this speech for him. Like, I really think that Twitter
Yeah,
followers
same here.
went
Same here.
through all the things and were tearing up this bill, and he was just looking at the ones that got the most retweets and was just
Yeah.
reading them off. I've got that feeling because this is everything that we were seeing on Twitter.
No,
through
no,
the whole
I was
day.
on Twitter, like the same shit he's saying. People were ranting about before he said it.
Yeah, I believe you. Yeah, and that's what I was seeing as well.
And an additional $154 million for the National Gallery of Art. Likewise, these facilities are essentially not open. $7 million for reef fish management.
So if he's going to stand on his high horse here and then sign the bill a few days later, what do you think that's about?
In the Gulf of Mexico.
Basically,
Decision to promote the breeding of
can you
fish
pause it?
in
Yeah.
federal hatcheries. $3 million
The seed that was planted was that he wants to prevent a government shutdown, which I'm not so sure about.
He's had government shutdowns before, and his base loves government shutdowns. They always get super excited during government shutdowns. Government shutdowns rally his base because he knows it pisses Congress off.
That's fair. But
$2 million
what would
for
a government shutdown look like now with the entire economy basically closed?
Well, I mean, I think people would like it would just be more people out of jobs, and I don't think anyone cares about that. I don't think anyone in Congress cares about who has a job and who doesn't.
That's a fair point.
I mean, they've been so obvious about it this year. They don't care about Americans' welfare. They don't care about Americans' wealth. They don't care about our GDP. They want to print money into oblivion, and Trump hasn't stood up against them at all.
That is true. He's actually a big fan of the liquidity being pumped.
And we're seeing just absolute death and destruction. And there's another, let's see if I can find this real quick. There's another article I wanted to look at. Man, I really did not do a good job staging today. I do apologize, everyone.
Don't worry.
But here is the Bloomberg article talking about the ticking debt bomb in China's $15 trillion bond market.
So the bond market is basically collateralized debt, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. How would you make money off of a collateralized debt?
Well, you make money because there's a set repay rate. So you give, and it's the only collateral is the bond that's created. It's just that it bears the authority of the U.S. government. So we're our own collateral. It's no different than a U.S. dollar, except it has a future print date or use date, you know?
Okay.
So the Chinese buy these, and we're like, hey, we're raising money. We want to raise $15 trillion. You want to buy these bonds? China's like, what the fuck are those bonds? And we're like, well, if you wait 15 years, we'll give you $17 trillion or whatever the interest rate is on the bond, or 30 years or 100 years. And so this is just talking about the money that we owe China through bonds. This isn't talking about the trillions of dollars that the Chinese government has in their national banks. This isn't talking about
Okay.
the trillions of dollars that Chinese businessmen have in their personal banks.
Okay.
And it's certainly not talking about the amount of Chinese Americans they have in their personal case. Like, remember, the CEO of Zoom is ex Chinese military, everybody. Please remember that. And that's not the
No.
only industry that's completely ruled by the
No. No.
Chinese government in America. Talk.
That brings me up to the topic of there was recently this past week the Chinese government launched an antitrust campaign against Alibaba, and they're speculating that this is a personal war between Xi Jinping and Jack Ma.
If it was a personal war between Xi Jinping and Jack Ma would be dead already. Um, it could be
Really?
internal fight. Oh yeah, Jack Ma exists because Xi Jinping lets him, for sure.
Okay. I. But
Xi
wouldn't he
Jinping could
have
turn
the
off the
money?
internet. What would Jack Ma be without the internet?
Okay, that's a fair point.
Xi Jinping could bar his company from using e-commerce. Like Jack Ma doesn't have, and WeChat is taking over Alipay. Chinese people don't use Alibaba. The rest of the world uses Alibaba to buy from China. How long do you think it would take for the rest of the world to switch over to a different one? And if that different one all of a sudden said, hey, well, the Chinese government's going to assure your funds in a PayPal like way, where, like, if you order and then you send your money to this account and they'll verify something's been sent at least. Like, if they did something like that, they could get everyone to switch over in a heartbeat. Jack Ma's got nothing but money, not the power that
Okay,
Xi
then
Jinping
that's a
has.
fair point.
And WeChat's posed to take over Ali's industry anyway, and that's the way that the Chinese government likes it because WeChat's more controlled by them.
That is true. Yes.
So there's another video. We probably won't play it. Maybe we will. You'll be able to hear it, and then you'll see it a bit late. But we'll go ahead and play it. That Q-tards are going crazy about, so I kind of wanted to include it, even though it's a bit silly.
For political office, he would have been very tough to beat.
Oh, there it is.
And that's right there. And that opens up, and that's John Kennedy. That's John. See, who was a friend of mine, and who was getting ready. He was going to sell George magazine. He was a good friend. He was a great guy, and he was going to run for political office. He would have been very tough to beat.
So there, I don't know if you can hear it, but it's Donald Trump talking about John, and he's showing the
John F.
famous,
Kennedy Jr.
yeah, right, and he's showing the famous picture of John F. Kennedy Jr. under his dad's, under the Resolute desk in the Oval Office, and the Q-tards literally think that on January 6th, John F. Kennedy Jr. is gonna like come out. They didn't say this, but I assume they think he'll be wearing plate armor and have a shiny sword and will like somehow fix everything. And like I have no idea. Like, are they really rooting for a military coup?
It seems all like it, man. These people have lost the logic, man. Like if it was Obama doing this, they would be up in arms.
Well, I mean, they would be ready to do what they need to do in his fight. And like, I mean, I agree with them when they talk about how corrupt Congress is. I do believe that of the 535 members of Congress, 533 of them are probably pedophiles. So, like, with maybe 5% margin for error, and I don't really know who those two are. I just have my guess, but it's not Bernie Sanders. Um, and like I believe that they're probably right about most of that crazy stuff, and I believe that if we're ever going to undo the evils in our nation, then Congress must be destroyed, but for the love of God, not by the military.
No, man, like the whole like magical like fairy tale shit. Like that's where they really have a problem, man. Because I really don't see mass arrests taking place without causing a massive chaos.
Like, so if you believe that Trump is a good guy, then there
Uh,
needs to be a reason. Like, just play that for me for a while. So, like, if you believe that Trump is a good guy, there needs to be a reason why he's continuing to lie about moon missions and NASA, right? And so, I guess the best argument.
because most people still believe it.
Right, and so the argument would be the same thing that you just made a second ago, where you're saying if you just release this information, there would just be pure chaos, right?
Yeah,
So he's scared to tell people the real true things, like we've never went to the moon. He's still giving $62 million a day to NASA, and why is he spending money like he wants the U.S. dollar to be destroyed?
maybe he does.
Maybe he does, like, and this idea that, like you said, they want to believe in the fairy tale. They want this knight in shining armor type guy to just walk in and suddenly be there. They literally want JFK Jr. to save them like a damsel in a tower, and it's baffling. We need to prepare.
It's just stupid. It's just stupid at this point. I mean, it's like I'm telling you, man. Like, you tell these people that on January 20th that Trump got inaugurated in a secret military inauguration, they would probably believe it.
I know, but like what's so funny about that kind of thing is like for the past 4 years we've heard Trump's a dictator, Trump's a fascist, and me, a rational, logical human being, have been like, well, no, he's a populist. He's not really Republican. He's a bit socialist sometimes, and but then you're right. Like the Q-tards are talking about secret military tribunals where people just disappear into Gitmo, and I'm like, wait a second. Do you guys want him to be a fascist? Do you want him to be a dictator? And it seems they do, and that's weird. Like what? Look what's going on in Australia right now. So you'll
Yeah,
see it late. Um,
I saw that. Yeah,
Oh, because I sent you the link already. So just listen to it and remind
yeah.
yourself.
You've left your residence. What's happened? Why did you do that today? Is there any reason or emergency that you've breached that quarantine direction given to you?
I wanted some Maccas.
Your quarantine direction. So we're now
I
going
want
to put
some
you in
Maccas.
government accommodation at your own expense, and you'll have to quarantine at the Pacific Hotel. Okay. You've breached your
Quarantine
direction.
at your own
Very
expense.
seriously in Queensland.
Right, like a quarantine at your own expense, but we've chosen the hotel. I wonder how much a night it is.
We're not here to muck around with COVID. I understand that
We're not here to muck around with COVID, lady. Listen here. We're serious in Queensland.
you had close contact with someone, but once you're given a direction and you're told to stay home, it is very clear that you are not to leave your address unless for medical treatment, medical services, or any event of emergency situation. Coming to McDonald's is definitely not.
Well,
Mac
well,
is not McDonald's.
well. Coming to McDonald's might very well be an emergency if you're diabetic and you need large amounts of sugar in very few seconds. Macca's might be your
Or if
only
you're
option.
really drunk.
And then it's an emergency on its own right. I totally agree. I wonder if this kind of shenanigans can happen in America. I mean, here in
No,
Vietnam, if the Vietnamese government was like, don't leave your apartment for 2 weeks, I would comply. But in America, I would not be so inclined to acquiesce to their request. It's
same here. It's
insanity. Go ahead.
like at least in the United States, people are like knowing where the middle is, but like I've seen shit coming out of Australia from months now. Like they've been much more authoritarian about this.
I mean, definitely, but like Australians lost most of their guns unless they live out in the boonies a long time ago. I don't think the Australian government fears their people. Some of those some of those anti-mask protests were pretty big. Like I don't know. I imagine Governor Cuomo fears the people. I don't think all politicians in America do, but I bet you Governor Cuomo does.
No way.
No, none at all. Just total disregard for everything you think.
No man. Him and okay. Okay, I mean, it's gonna be De Blasio who would take the fall, because New York City is kind of like a gigantic state by itself.
That's a good point. But he's been like, didn't he get an Emmy? Did I make that up, or did Governor Cuomo get an Emmy for his
That might be
COVID
his
speeches?
brother, Chris, who works at CNN.
Um, yeah, that would make way more sense, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't his brother. And I'm checking this. I'm fact checking myself live on air because I don't have a Jamie. Like if I was Joe Rogan, I'd be like, Jamie, pull that up. I think he got an Emmy, but I'm Jamie. So you're watching still, just a little bit behind time. So here it is, NPR telling me that I need to support independent journalism. I will watch YouTube. Andrew
They are
Cuomo to
not
receive
independent journalism.
International Emmy for
The
masterful
fuck?
COVID-19 briefings. This article was written November
That's just
21st.
stupid. That's just stupid.
I mean, it's kind of hilarious.
No, it's just stupid, man. That's just what's it like? What's it called when it's like comedy, but it's like tragic? Like
I believe it's called like I mean black humor.
yeah, like that's just like they're just trolling us at this point, man.
Oh, they're totally trolling us. They absolutely 100% are like, well, let's give the governor an Emmy. He governs so well. Like they're all actors. That's the one thing Q
Yeah,
says that's true is it's all theater, and they're now like the actors who play politicians are upset that they don't get the recognition that the actors who play actors get, and so they're like, all right, fine. We'll destroy Hollywood. We'll destroy stand up comedy. We'll destroy all of this. We'll sell it to the
you
Chinese
know,
and we'll make
I think
Olympic
that
theater
Hollywood
the
is
most
going to come
interesting thing in
back
the world.
next year. I think
Hollywood,
Hollywood will make. I think it's gonna make a comeback in the next year.
I mean, are you talking fiscally? Are you talking stock price? Or are you talking Americans will start to watch it again?
I'm thinking that the entertainment will start to get better, and let me explain why. Let me explain why. If Joe Biden gets in, it's not going to be fun to watch.
Do you think he will?
Yes,
You do, really? You think 20th?
yes.
Do we have a bet yet?
Okay, well, what's your bet?
I think we should do a million Vietnamese dong.
Make it 500.
Oh, you're not that confident? You should give
Okay,
me
no, okay.
odds.
How about this?
Like betting sites have
Okay.
already paid out. This is insane. You don't believe Joe Biden's going to be president either. You're backing
I
down
do.
already. You've got so much more
No, no,
money
no.
than me, and you're calling the low. You don't believe
Okay,
it.
fair.
You know.
Fair.
You know
How
it's
about this?
not going to be
I
him.
buy you Bollywood. How about this? I buy you Bollywood 2 days in a row.
You're scared of $1 million. You don't believe Joey Boy can do it, huh? You don't think it. You don't
What?
think he's
That
going
would
to
be
get
like
in.
$1 million dong. Okay, no. Okay, so like you get a chicken tikka masala and like four bay beers on average, which is like 560,000 dong.
I just get a
minus the
chicken
10%,
tikka, which is
like-
110, and I get 3 bay beers most of the time, which is 180. So it's normally
Okay,
like 300
okay.
dong. But you're backing down. That I knew it. You don't think it's going to be Biden. So let me ask you this:
Okay.
What if I said $1 million just on it? Like it won't be Biden. Maybe it'll be Kamala Harris. Like I put small chance there. No,
Kamala Harris.
I think most
Kamala
likely it's going to
Harris.
be Trump, though.
I think it's gonna be Biden, man. It's okay,
Yeah, but
you know
you
what?
don't think
I'll
enough.
take you up.
You don't
I'll
think
take you
enough.
up. I'll take you up
for,
on that 1 million bet.
Oh my goodness, you've already backed out and squirreled away. I don't want to pressure
Nope.
you into gambling. No
No,
worries.
fuck
about
that.
It. No worries about it. It's interesting to know that you're not like 100% totally all the way. I'm not that Trump will be either, but my gut is Trump still. I don't think it's going to be Supreme Court, man. I think Pence is going to put the hammer down. Excuse me. And I think that we're going to see just a contested election. It's going to be just like 1877. And remember, in 1877, Grant stayed president.
That's a fair point, but I mean, that's a very long time ago, man.
Right, but in terms of our government infrastructure, it's the same era. Because after the Civil War, a lot of
Okay, fair
precedent
enough,
was
fair enough.
reset. So now we're way continued. Like if you were talking 1810, our government structure was so different that I would hold your point. Excuse me. But
Okay.
1877 just seems like a much more recent time, and it seems a much more doable repeat. And that's why I'm expecting, especially because like we're just getting $600 now, I'm really expecting COVID to get worse next year and things to get worse in the US, UBI to be put in as like how the Democrats concede. Like Andrew Yang will come out and be like, guys, everything will be okay if we can just get UBI and Trump's president 4 more years. And Bernie Sanders will be like, it's a good idea. We
you
can
know-
help the people. Go ahead.
You know that Andrew Yang is actually filing papers to run for mayor of New York.
To run for what position? Something of New York governor?
No, mayor of New York.
Mayor of New York. I didn't know that. That
New
would
York
be,
City.
that would be interesting. I was pretty sure he was kind of on the take. Maybe he was, but they just needed him for a small job, and then he kind of went rogue, and he's like, "Well, I've got the fame now. I can do this." So that's pretty interesting. Do you think he'll win?
He kind of like he stole. Maybe. You have to realize he could get a lot of votes, man, especially the minority votes. He could like look at how many Asian Americans live in New York, man.
Ha, that's a good point. That's where Chinatown is. Yeah, I suppose, but I really think that New York's elections would be beyond the voters' control. New York City, it seems too important to me. You know what I mean?
Or what if the Democrats wait? What if the Democrats put it in to make people think that yeah, we're a changing party now?
That's totally possible. Like if they just like the optics of Andrew Yang, they could put him
Well,
in.
like a psyop.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, because let's be real here. Like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will not be popular. Like, they'll be
w-
despised.
well,
So maybe Andrew Yang
since
will be their failsafe.
since since the Democrats have the media and the propaganda so well done in America that they will be popular to an extent.
I think that Joe Biden and Kamala uh, Harris have been so exposed by Trump and by other Democrats too that I don't think that Biden and Harris will be popular at all, man. I don't think people will care
People
for
don't
one.
have that kind of memory, man. Like 3 months and everybody forgets everybody or everything everybody's done. That's like one of the major points about the whole Hillary Clinton
three
thing.
months,
Like, how could you release that story right before the election? If you did it 3 months before the election, no one would care. They even say
three
that
months
about
for what?
Trump. They say that if that Hollywood Access tape, where he said he was going to grab the women by their genitalia, they said if that released a week
Yeah.
before the election, he would lose. But since it released 3 months before the election, it was no problem.
No, no, that was released like probably 2 weeks before the election,
I
man.
believe it was September. I mean, we could look it up to be checked, but I think it was a
No,
September release.
that was like a few weeks.
But
That was right before the final debate, which would have probably been in early to mid
they've
October, which is about 2 to 3 weeks before the election.
they've created such a hyper news cycle that they are designing people to forget about this. Feel outraged about this, move on. Feel outraged about this, move on. Feel outraged about this, move on. And as they're doing that, like it loses impact because we're always going to be outraged about the next thing, and they're going to lose their sustainability. Like the idea that Kamala Harris has done anything so bad in her past that she couldn't fix with a single speech is kind of insane. And if you look at what she did this week, like this would be the end of any other politician. But since
What
she's
did
the
she do?
darling media, I'm pulling it up right now. Since she has the darling media, she can do as she likes because, like it or not, popularity is determined by the tone of the source of your information. And so
Fair enough.
you'll just have to listen, but it's a video of her sitting in front of a fake menorah, and this is what she has to say to everybody. Turn this
I
thing
can't hear, man.
hasn't started.
I wanted to take a moment to send my warmest wishes to everyone celebrating Kwanzaa. Like so many other holidays, we will be celebrating Kwanzaa a little
Kwanzaa.
differently this season in our home. We'll be doing it over Zoom. You know, my sister and
She
I, we
doesn't
grew up
celebrate that.
celebrating Kwanzaa. Every year,
Oh
our
yes, she
family
does.
in our extended family, we would gather around across multiple. You know, my sister.
Every year, her extended family of Hindi Indians would come together and celebrate Kwanzaa. Every year, says the woman born 2 years before Kwanzaa was created.
And I, we grew up celebrating Kwanzaa. Every year, our family would, and our extended family,
I
we would
mean,
gather around across
she
multiple
did the same thing during the debates when she smoking and listening to a Tupac in college when she went to
Right.
college way before.
Tupac had
Tupac
ever
came
released
out.
it. Yeah, she remembers smoking joints, listening to Tupac in college. And I like how she claimed her Jamaican heritage. Of course, she smokes weed, and her dad was like, "Man, I don't like that girl." Her dad's probably based. That's why he left.
Generations. And we tell stories. The kids would say generations. In our extended family, we would gather around across multiple generations. And we tell stories. The kids would sit on the carpet, and the elders would sit in chairs. And we would light the candles. And, of course, afterwards, have a beautiful meal. And, of course, there was always the discussion of the 7 principles. And my favorite, I have to tell you, was always the one about self-determination, Kujichagulia. And, essentially it's about, be and do. Be the person you want to be and do the things you want to do and do the things that need to be done. It's about not letting anyone write our future for us, but instead going out and writing it for ourselves. And that principle motivates me today as we seek to confront the challenges facing our country and to build a brighter future for all Americans. So to everyone who is celebrating, happy Kwanzaa from our family to yours.
There is no way this woman, raised by her single Indian mother, who was born in 1964, celebrates Kwanzaa, the holiday created in 1966, and everyone knows it. No one looks at that and thinks it's real, except maybe old white ladies. Because they're still over there going, Kwanzaa? That's fun to say. You still with me, Sash, or did I lose you? We are at 8:30, so perhaps it is time for us to wind
No,
down.
I'm still, yeah.
Oh, there
I
you
was just gonna
are.
say,
Go ahead.
sorry. I was just gonna say, like she pulled the same stunt back during the debates when she lied about the
Yeah.
fact that she smoked weed and
Tupac.
listened
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
Tupac while she was in college. But
Yeah, you said that already.
yeah,
Yeah, we heard that.
but she went to college a decade. Okay, okay.
Yeah, a decade
Yeah,
before.
okay.
I don't remember if it
I
was
thought you
Tupac's first
didn't.
album or if it was his rise to
My
fame or
Wi-Fi is
something.
really bad right now.
I understand. We'll go ahead and end this. This has been a stream of technical difficulties. So good morning from Vietnam, everybody. Today is Monday, which
Sorry,
is
guys.
the day that the Q-tards say Trump will save America through power and technology. And of course, they said that about last Friday, and then they said that about Christmas Eve, and then they said that about last Monday, and then they said that about the Monday before that, and then they said that about the Sunday before that, and then they said that about the day after Thanksgiving, and then they said that about Halloween, and they said that about the beginning of October, and they said that about the end of June, and they said that about April 15th. And none of those